The word queer has changed. Again, traditionally, the word queer used to mean someone who was attracted to the same sex as themselves, a gay man. Right? Now, the word queer can mean a straight man who wants some attention.
Ricky Gervais has made a name for himself with his unfiltered approach to comedy, often tackling controversial topics that others shy away from. In his latest routines, he dives deep into the changing landscape of comedy, particularly how the concept of woke has transformed over the years. He highlights the absurdity of a world where comedians must navigate a minefield of sensitivities, where every punchline could trigger an avalanche of backlash. Hollywood's moral high ground.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If I started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and...
Gervais begins his critique by skewering Hollywood's self-righteousness, particularly during events like the Golden Globes. He points out the hypocrisy of celebrities who preach about morality while being part of companies like Apple, which he notes operates sweatshops in China. If you win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to lecture the public about anything, he quips. This sets the tone for his commentary on the disconnect between Hollywood's lofty ideals and the reality of their business practices. Woke comedy a new genre?
To me about another comedian, they say, oh, they're not funny. Even if I agree with them, I stand up and I say, well, you can't say that. You've got to say, you don't find them funny, you know. And I hate it when people say, that joke was offensive. I gotta say, no, you've got to say, you found it offensive. Because it's all about feelings, and feelings are personal. And there's loads of types of comedy, and comedy evolves, you know. There's a new type of comedy at the moment called woke comedy, right? No, it's very progressive, you know. There are some clubs now where the comedian has to sign a thing saying he won't say anything contentious or he won't say anything that could offend anyone. It's a safe space for the audience, woke comedy. And I tried to watch a bit of it, and I decided I'd rather watch Louis C.K.
As Gervais delves into the realm of woke comedy, he expresses his disdain for the trend where comedians are required to sign agreements promising not to offend anyone. He finds it ludicrous that comedy clubs now demand such waivers, likening the situation to a dodgeball tournament where the rules are strict and the fun is stifled. Comedy has become a safe space where all the jokes go to hide. He states, emphasizing the need for comedians to push boundaries rather than retreat behind them. The Kevin Hart-Oscars saga. Gervais reflects on the Kevin Hart-Oscars saga, where Hart faced backlash for decade-old tweets. Gervais sympathizes with Hart, noting that the constant need to apologize for past comments is exhausting and absurd. If you can't let it go, it's like demanding a refund on a sandwich you ate 10 years ago, he quips, illustrating the ridiculousness of holding someone accountable for their past in an ever-changing cultural climate.
Kevin Hart. See, Kevin Hart, he got the job hosting the Oscars. It was his best day ever. He was on Twitter going, oh, I've wanted to do this all my life, right? And then someone found these 10-year-old tweets, right? That they were sort of childish, sort of tweets. It was about his son. He was mucking around. He said, oh, my son's doing so-and-so. I hope he's not... There was a massive backlash. He went, oh, sorry, I'm not homophobic, really sorry. He deleted them, right, and said, I'm really sorry. 10 years later, someone finds a screen grab and goes, look, he's done this. Oh, big thing. The Oscars go, oh, you've got to apologise again. He went, no, I've apologised. I can't keep apologising. And he's right. If there's no value to saying sorry and evolving, he might as well just tweet him again. If you're the type of person to revel in someone getting cancelled for something they said 10 years ago, you're just ensuring that one day you'll be cancelled for something you said today. You can't predict what will be offensive in the future. You don't know who the dominant mob will be. You know, like the worst thing you can say today, get you cancelled on Twitter, threats, whatever, the worst thing you can say today is women don't have...
The changing definition of queer. Another point Gervais tackles is the shifting definition of the word queer. Once a term primarily associated with gay individuals, it has morphed into something broader, often used for anyone seeking attention. He humorously describes it as a new accessory, akin to putting a Save the Planet sticker on an SUV. His take is that identity politics have become less about genuine representation and more about performative gestures, confronting sacred cows. Gervais argues that the freedom to joke about any subject is essential for comedy to thrive. He believes that when people mistake the subject of a joke for the actual target, they miss the point entirely. Comedy needs the freedom to roam, not live in a petting zoo, he asserts, advocating for the ability to address tough topics through humor. Cultural appropriation, a misunderstood concept. He also tackles the issue of cultural appropriation, lamenting how sharing cultural ideas has been redefined as a negative act. Gervais reminisces about a time when exchanging cultural practices was celebrated, contrasting it with modern-day accusations against public figures like Gwen Stefani and Jamie Oliver for their cultural expressions. Now, it seems we need a license to wear dreadlocks or cook jerk chicken, he observes, highlighting the absurdity of such restrictions.
Cultural appropriation. Have you heard of that? Cultural appropriation, the latest no-no. Now, again, in my day, it was considered a good thing to swap ideas with other cultures, with other nations, to share things with other races, to assimilate. It was the opposite of racist. Now it's racist. Gwen Stefani got in trouble in her last video because she had her blonde hair in dreadlocks. People go, no, black people invented dreadlocks, you can't have them, you're white, that's racist. Jamie Oliver got in trouble when he put out authentic chicken recipe. People go, no, black people invented that, you can't have it, you're white, that's racist. Now, black people, they use the N-word, don't they? We invented that.
Trigger warnings and sensitivity. Gervais expresses his frustration with the increasing demand for trigger warnings in comedy. He points out that people often want to shield themselves from even the slightest offense, which can stifle creativity and humor. If you're telling me I can't joke about something, you might as well be saying I can't think about it, he quips, emphasizing the importance of confronting challenging topics through laughter. Ricky's golden rule on offense. One of Gervais's core beliefs is that just because someone is offended, it doesn't mean they are right. He argues that offense is subjective and varies from person to person. Some people are offended by equality, so what? He challenges, urging comedians to stay true to their craft without fear of backlash. The dangers of virtue signaling. Gervais critiques virtue signaling, which he sees as a superficial way for individuals to elevate their status. He believes that this behavior is patronizing, implying that minorities lack a sense of humor. It's like ordering an extra-large offended latte with a sprinkle of superiority on top, he jokes, calling out the absurdity of such attitudes. Final thoughts on woke culture. In his closing remarks, Gervais reflects on the evolution of the term woke. He suggests that if being woke means being aware of privilege and striving for equality, then he is on board. However, if it has morphed into a puritanical movement that punishes honest opinions, he wants no part of it. I'm woke, just not the puritanical kind, he concludes, leaving the audience with a thought-provoking message about the nature of humor and social consciousness. Conclusion: the future of comedy. Ricky Gervais challenges the current narrative surrounding comedy and woke culture, advocating for a return to the roots of humor where laughter is free and nothing is too sacred to joke about. His perspective resonates with many who feel stifled by the increasing demands for sensitivity and political correctness. As we move forward, it's essential to remember the power of laughter and its ability to bring people together, even in the face of discomfort.
Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So, fifth time. So, we were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had, it wasn't diverse enough. No. It was mostly white people, and I thought, nah, not on my watch. So, maybe next year. Let's see what happens.